from the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast.
Wild spring weather is destroying drought and flooding out fields.
We really thought this was going to finally be a decent year.
The Kansas Wheat Tour wraps up. We'll share the final tally in AgriBusiness, looking at interest rates.
So I think people think interest rates have exploded, and really when you look at it, they're almost lower than they were before the election.
On Farm Journal College TV, Ken Ferry says, know your hybrids, and baking bread with the sun in the land down under.
AgDay, brought to you by the dependable, longest-lasting Chevy Silverado.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. While much of the Midwest and lower Mississippi Valley is fighting against flooding rivers and saturated ground, the rest of the country has plenty of soil moisture too, as the level of drought in the U.S. has reached a historic low. The U.S. Drought Monitor records were broken this week. The colored areas on this map represent just 14.3% of the continental U.S. The previous record was 21.3% set back in June of 2010. Now, if you take out the abnormally dry category and just focus on the drought categories, they cover just under 5% of the country. That drop breaks last week's record and a long-standing record dating back to 2010. On individual categories, D2 and D3 inched up this week, mostly due to worsening drought across southern Georgia and Florida's peninsula. River levels are falling after record and near-record flooding in parts of the Midwest, but the crisis is far from over. Major flooding is occurring on parts of the Missouri River and the Mississippi River in Missouri and Illinois, but smaller rivers like the Black River in northeast Arkansas are leaving their devastating marks as well. An extension agent from Randolph County, Arkansas, says thousands of acres of row crops are under several feet of water. In this report provided by the Arkansas Farm Bureau, Ken Moore says multiple crops are in jeopardy.
We really thought this was going to finally be a decent year. We have had flood issues off and on for the past 4 years in a row. The lakes were all down this year, rivers were all in good shape, and we felt like finally this was going to be a nice, even mediocre year as far as the farming season was concerned. But one weekend changed all that.
Up to a foot of rain fell across North Arkansas the last weekend of April, resulting in flash flood events that caused creeks to swell, roads and bridges to collapse, and rivers to rise above flood stage, flooding thousands of acres of crop and pasture land. Early estimates show the economic impact to agriculture could exceed $300 million.
What we're going to have to do in these fields is we're going to have to reseed the levees. We're going to have to try to find some rice that's fast maturing, and where that rice will catch up with the rice that's already up in the field. This is going to delay our harvest. It will probably hurt our quality, and we could probably see a 10 or 15% yield drag because of this.
We have farmed on the banks of the river all of our lives. We've taken several hits down through the years, always managed to come back from them, but the margins have gotten so tight in farming that it's getting very difficult to take very much of a hit at all and bounce back. The only thing that could possibly help is that I can think of is that the margins in farming are going to have to get to be back to a point to where a farmer can somewhat self-insure, to where he can be able to absorb some losses and come back out of it on a good year. And right now that just isn't the case.
This is Ken Moore reporting.
All right, thanks, Ken. Now, wheat futures falling double digits Thursday after the Kansas Wheat Tour reported yield estimates. It expects 282 million bushels this year, although some agronomists warn there could be a lot of variability between now and harvest, depending on the amount of abandonment and rainfall. Out west, where the blizzard hit last weekend, the Tour estimates winter wheat yields averaging nearly 47 bushels to the acre, even after factoring that storm damage in. Futures dropped off a 2-month high. Scouts dipping into Oklahoma also finding decent crops north of I-40.
As you got to I-40 going north, obviously the crop wasn't nearly as mature when the rain started, and it's really benefited that crop, especially the closer you get to the Kansas border, the more benefit there was.
Have you seen a pinch on acres like we saw in Kansas?
We are seeing a big pinch on acres. It's some of the lowest planted acres we've ever had in Oklahoma. And this year we're going to have a higher abandonment than ever, because that area I talked about south of I-40, southwestern Oklahoma, they do have the option to go to cotton. And right now, with the price of wheat versus what cotton's doing, it's a lot better deal for those guys. So we're going to see 50% plus abandonment in southwestern Oklahoma. They'll be going to cotton probably, or possibly grain sorghum.
Hodges estimates that wheat harvest will start in central Texas this weekend and will make its way to the north into Oklahoma by May 15th. Today in Crop Comments, we'll look at soil moisture extremes. Mike Hoffman takes a look from the AgDay Weather Center. Mike?
Good morning, Clinton. There's not widespread flooding in Iowa, thank goodness, but many fields are still way too wet to plant. We talked to a farmer from Waverly, Iowa. That town is just north of Cedar Falls and Waterloo. In that area, he says he has not put one seed in the ground yet. Last year, he was completely finished by now. He hopes to get in the field this weekend. As of Monday, only a third of Iowa's corn crop was planted, 7 points behind the average. And we briefly mentioned earlier about the few spots of drought in the country. Florida is one of them. Right now, 2/3 of the state is in some level of drought. It hasn't been that high in 4 years. And taking a look at that drought monitor, I mean, it is amazing how little there is across the country. It's really only the southeast and the far southwest, with Florida being the main problem area. We'll talk more about your forecast and have your forecast for the next couple of days coming up. But first, here are some hometown temps.
With market prices constantly changing, it's important to know where current prices stand. Get market prices delivered right to your mobile phone. Just text MARKETS8 to 31313 to get started.
A disease that's been especially deadly to young pigs has been discovered once again in Canada. The chief veterinary officer in Manitoba says tests are showing positive for PEDV from a sow operation in southeast Manitoba. A disease investigation is now underway. Manitoba authorities say control measures were implemented immediately. Producers within a 3-mile radius of the infected site have been alerted and are monitoring their own herds. The last known case in Manitoba was September of 2016. The U.S. Department of Commerce says it intends to impose duties on Mexican sugar imports beginning on June 5th unless the two countries can come to an agreement over what it calls that country's unfair trading practices. Some in agriculture fear the latest U.S.-Mexico sugar dispute could spread to U.S. corn or high fructose corn syrup if Mexico retaliates. Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley says 260,000 U.S. corn refining related jobs hang in the balance. Also in trade, USDA and the acting U.S. trade representative announcing positive changes for the citrus industry. The EU is amending its import requirements, dropping the need for a grove survey. That makes it easier for U.S. citrus to be shipped to the EU and saves growers nearly $6 million a year. The industry estimates that citrus exports could increase by 25%. A survey by the American Bankers Association showing nearly 90% of agricultural lenders have seen a decline in overall farm profitability in the last 12 months. Grains seem to be the biggest concern for 80% of lenders. Ag bankers say they expect a little more than half of their clients to be profitable in 2017. Last year, it was 60%. When we come back, we'll take a look at some macroeconomic issues, including interest rates and what it means for farmers in 2017. Plus, Ken Ferry reminds you to know your hybrids during Farm Journal College TV. And can you imagine how much energy it takes for industrial-sized bakeries to make bread? See how one company is offsetting those costs.
Help a community organization win $10,000. Vote now by texting DREAM to 31313.
Every successful grower knows that the best crops need strong roots, and that means they need Radiate Plant Growth Regulator. Radiate features 2 powerful active ingredients that help young crops quickly develop the longer, healthier roots they need for more nutrient uptake, early vigor, and stress resistance. Applied either foliar or in furrow, Radiate makes all the difference for a wide variety of crops. So get the roots your crops need by getting Radiate first. See your CPS dealer today.
Hi guys, today we're here to talk about the Chevy Silverado Special Edition.
Awesome.
What's your first impression?
It looks sick. This is one gorgeous truck.
Oh, did I say there was only one special edition? Because actually there's 5.
Nice. Strength and style.
Which one's your favorite?
Come home with me.
Introducing the Chevy Silverado Special Editions.
You've committed to doing all you can to increase your yields and grow your bottom line. Like using Stratego Yield fungicide and its 2 modes of action for unbeatable control of the major foliar soybean diseases. You'll get an average yield increase of 3 to 4 bushels per acre. Healthier fields means higher yields. You're ready to profit from the season with Stratego Yield.
Looking for a safer way to burn yard waste? Stop! Don't burn in a rusty barrel like this. Burn the safe way with the Burn Cage. It doesn't just burn, it incinerates, leaving nothing behind but fine ash. And when you're done, the Burn Cage folds up neatly for storage.
For a free information kit about the Burn Cage, call 1-800-731-8736. That's 1-800-731-8736. Online at burncage.com.
In agribusiness, crude closed near a 6-week low after U.S. inventories declined by less than analysts projected, while grains and livestock also pulled back on Thursday. Let's learn more about trade action from our friends on the floor.
Volatility oftentimes invites more volatility, and we're definitely seeing that play out. Specifically in the cattle market, live cattle, feeder cattle, with expanded limits kind of trading both sides, believe it or not. Live cattle started the day limit up, came off relatively well despite the cash being much higher in areas of Texas. Feeder cattle actually traded near limit down, so a lot of volatility. Technicals are out the window. If you're in this market, I think you're going to want to use options as a hedge if you're trading with futures. If you don't have a position and want some skin in the game, look at purchasing options as a way to get good exposure with limited risk. And unfortunately, we are seeing some selling pressure come into the commodities sector really across the board. Despite the U.S. dollar trading lower as well, we're seeing a lot of pressure in gold, crude oil, and the agricultural commodities as well, specifically the grains taking a hit. Looking at some of the technicals for the corn chart, December corn is going to be the month of contract. That's new crop. Coming down to previous technical support, 383. This represents a key Fibonacci retracement as well as a 200-day moving average. The bulls must maintain a close above this to keep some footing in this market. I think going into the weekend, there might be some weather uncertainty, but really we're looking forward to next Monday's crop progress report, which should be a little bit more telling for what happened this past weekend as far as weather. This has been Oliver Slope with iTrader from the floor of the CME.
Tommy Grisafi with Advanced Trading, our guest here at the AgriBusiness Desk today. Tommy, let's talk about interest rates. And everybody thought that it was kind of the end of this inexpensive money out there as we raised interest rates, but what are you seeing and what's the impact that we're seeing so far?
Well, the curve shifted a little bit, and so the 2-year note used to be under 1%. It's now above, and the 5-year note's above. But when you look at the 10-year, and that's what a lot of people talk about, the 10-year was at like 1.9 before the election. It immediately shot up to 2.8, 2.9. You start talking about 3%, 4% 10-year rates. All of a sudden, I looked at my quote screen the other day, and the 10-year was back down to 2.25. Today, it's at 2.30. So think about that. You can borrow money. You know, the bank or your lending institution will charge you a little bit more than that, so they can make some money. But you can still term out debt at an incredibly low rate. If you are one of these believers that there's going to be inflation, which under this administration and the stock market hitting record highs every day, you would think at some point the economy would start to really heat up and we'd have inflation. Currently we don't, and that 10 years, telling you that story. The Fed's raised rates a few times, but that's the short-term rate. The Fed doesn't raise rates on the long end of the curve. They just control short-term interest rates. So I think people think interest rates have exploded, and really when you look at it, they're almost lower than they were before the election. The stock market's improved a lot since then. So it's still a great time to term out debt, and it's a tool that you should have in your toolbox, and at least take the time to go talk to your lending institution and ask them what they think about moving a little money around.
Yeah, strategies for having that discussion with your lending institution. I know that's been one of those tough conversations this year. What are you hearing out there from folks as they go and try to talk about borrowing money to get through 2017?
There's different ways of borrowing money from the bank, but the lending institutions like to term stuff out. You may have had something that you aggressively paid down over the last few years. You might go remortgage that. There's just ways of shifting money around so that it doesn't look like your farm's so cash-strapped. Because as we know, many of the producers are very wealthy. There's a lot of wealth in agriculture, multi-generations of land ownership and things like that. But sometimes guys are still cash-strapped. So the institution, banks love to loan money. They're not going to yell at you. As long as you have something you can put against that loan, they'll be more than willing to talk to you and work with you.
All right, Tommy, good perspective. Appreciate that. We'll be back with more Ag Day right after these messages.
Interested in spending a day with a trader? Call Tommy Grisafi at 800-664-4383. Get the roots your crops need by getting Radiate first. Visit lovelandproducts.com/radiate. See your CPS dealer today.
With worsening weather patterns, an aging vulnerable power grid, and the growing risk of cyber terrorism, power outages are a part of life now. When the power goes out, we lose everything. We can't even charge our smartphones. Now more than ever, you need a Generac automatic home standby generator. With Generac, power stays on in your house, even if you're not at home. Plus, with the Generac mobile link, you can check on your generator anytime.
For a free buyer's guide and DVD all about Generac home backup power, call 1-800-315-4206. You'll learn all about automatic home generators starting at just $18.99. Online at freegeneratorguide.com.
I know that when the power goes out, that Generac is going to kick on and I'm going to have power powering my whole house.
If it's out for 15 minutes or 4 days, we're going to be okay.
Call now for a limited time bonus offer worth $695. That's 1-800-315-4206.
I told my seedsman that he needed to pick the products that he thought would do well on my farm, and we knocked the yields out of the park. Best year we've ever had.
It's not just about last year or this year or next year. It's a journey through many years, and I can count on him going forward.
May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others. Let others do for you.
Long live Spirit. And long live the truck with the strength to keep the faith. Ram, America's longest lasting pickups.
Now get 0% financing or an average $11,506 in total values on the 2017 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab.
Welcome back to Ag Day. Your meteorologist Mike Hoffman. Mike, if we look at the drought monitor, as we mentioned, we're kind of at a record low point for drought, and you can really see where the only places are where it's bad.
Yeah, and they really just didn't get the rain. Everybody else did. So let's go back a month and see what it looked like. Amazing how much more of the country has some sort of drought. And it's amazing to me how some of these areas in Missouri and Oklahoma went from a moderate to severe drought to nothing in 4 weeks. Drought is a long-term issue, and it usually takes a long time to get rid of. But there has been so much rain that we've gotten rid of most of that drought over the central portions of the country. Now, of course, the problem with that is it's way too wet now. We have to change this weather pattern to see things start to dry out. But like we said, Florida, especially parts of Georgia, still have some real drought issues. As of this morning, storm system, another big wet storm system in the eastern Ohio Valley, producing rainfall in that area back into the central Mississippi Valley, but most of it's now going to fall along the eastern seaboard and into the northeast, with some lingering back in Indiana and Ohio and Kentucky and Tennessee as we head through the day today. There's this evening. Thunderstorms will be offshore along the cold front, but the rain continues north of it. Quick little burst of energy coming southward here with some chilly air behind it, and also a quick little chance of rain showers western Great Lakes late today. Two storm systems out west. Both of these are moving slowly eastward, trying to butt up against the big ridge over the center of the country. We'll show that on the jet stream. There's tomorrow morning as we start the weekend, and lots of rain in the northeast. most of the southeast drying off at that point. And you can see that little system brings, a few hours of scattered showers to most areas as it drops from the western Great Lakes into the Tennessee Valley by later in the day tomorrow. Scattered showers then developing throughout the mountain ranges out west. Precipitation estimate past 24 hours, lots of it east of the Mississippi River especially. Adding in the next 36 hours, you can see there's a heavy batch from southern Illinois into the eastern Great Lakes and another batch from the panhandle of Florida into Virginia. So those will be the heaviest areas of rain. Snowfall, not much to speak of. We are going to see just a little bit in the higher elevations over the next 36 hours in the Pacific Northwest. There are the temperatures, chilly in the east where it's raining, but 70s where the sun has come back out in the plains, turning hot in the desert southwest, by the way, with some hundreds. And then you can see a chilly night tonight, but it's warming up again even more across the plain states. Tomorrow afternoon still chilly in the Great Lakes because of this cutoff area of low pressure. Watch what happens. This thing takes forever to go away. We have this big ridge warming things up, drying it off in the middle of the country, and the next cutoff comes in by later next week right across the Great Lakes. Unbelievable weather pattern. That's a look across the country. Now let's take a look at some local forecasts. We head to Pocatello, Idaho. First of all, partly to mostly sunny and warm, high of 81. Jefferson City, Missouri, lots of sunshine on the breezy side, but not bad, high of 70 now. And mostly sunny in Lake City, Florida, breezy and pleasant, high around 72.
When we come back, the importance of knowing your hybrids. Tips from Farm Journal College TV and Ken Ferry. Plus, it may sound like a half-baked idea, but investors see some real potential for a return on their dollar from solar power. Details as we head in the country.
Visit farmjournalpro.com. Trusted analysis, professional insight. farmjournalpro.com.
Oh, Ed, what are we presenting?
That Creden's soybeans are designed using smart genetics.
Look, state-of-the-art breeding advances the best germplasm.
Plus, tailored varieties for any field conditions with choice in herbicide-tolerant traits.
And Creden's soybeans come backed by Bayer's ongoing innovation.
Want increased yields and ROI? Plant the smarter soybean.
Talk to an authorized Creden's retailer or discover the right Creden's variety at credenz.bayer.us.
Always read and follow label instructions.
Everybody has a flashlight, but can your flashlight do this? The Bell & Howell Tactical Flashlight can. The Bell & Howell Tac Light can do things no ordinary flashlight can do. Look, this civilian flashlight puts out pathetic light, but our military-grade Tac Light, that's 22 times as bright.
You can get a Bell & Howell Tac Light complete with a lifetime guarantee for just $19.99 plus free shipping. And while supplies last, you can even get a second one. Just pay a separate fee.
Grandma, can you come out and play?
Sure, Ellie. Oh my, you might want to come here and help Grandma.
What's the matter, Grandma? Can't you stand?
Oh, sorry, honey. It's my knees. They don't work the way they used to.
Does this ever happen to you? Are you on Medicare? You may qualify for a pain-relieving knee brace at little or no cost to you. Call the Health Hotline to see if you qualify. Our friendly agents are standing by 24/7 to help you. We also have braces for your shoulder, ankle, or back pain. And if you're covered by Medicare, you may qualify for free delivery.
Grandma, slow down. I can't keep up.
Maybe you can use a knee brace too, Ellie. Catch me if you can, kiddo.
Call now to get your pain-relieving knee brace.
Operators are standing by. Call 800-506-2804. That's 800-506-2804. Again, 800-506-2804. That's 800-506-2804.
In the hustle and bustle of planting season, it's not uncommon for mistakes to be made. Well, today on Farm Journal College TV, Ken Ferry reminds you that it's important to know your hybrids if you need to spot a problem later on.
So one of the things I work with our customers on to be able to identify a mistake if it's taken place is they need to know their hybrids. There's some distinct leaf structures and tassels as we see here. These are two totally different hybrids. This is the one that was supposed to be on the light soil at a low population. This is the one that's supposed to be on the heavy soil at a high population. So they need to be walking through their field and being able to identify which product they put where to make sure it's done right. They also are going to need to know where they put it in the field, because if they're going to scout for insects or disease, they're now going to have some type of GPS capability in their iPad or their iPhone to find it in the field, because we're changing as we go through the field. They're going to need to know what hybrid they're in. So again, spend some time studying your hybrid, build your yearbook, as we say, and know where these hybrids are in the field and whether you did it right or not.
And next, we'll see how a bakery down under is turning to the sun for their massive power-eating needs. How will it pay off? We'll take a look.
We're pitching in to help our neighbors, and you can join us. Go to wildfirerelieffund.org to learn more.
Looking for a safer way to burn yard waste? Stop! Don't burn in a rusty barrel like this. Burn the safe way with the Burn Cage. It doesn't just burn, it incinerates, leaving nothing behind but fine ash. And when you're done, the Burn Cage folds up neatly for storage.
For a free information kit about the Burn Cage, call 1-800-731-8736. That's 1-800-731-8736. Online at burncage.com.
Nick Bolton here with the new Tack Light Lantern from Bell & Howell. The Tack Light Lantern collapses down smaller than a smartphone and weighs less than a pound. But don't let its small size fool you. It's twice as bright as an ordinary lantern. Plus, this lantern is built like a tank. It's heat resistant, works submerged in water, and can survive even the coldest conditions.
Act now, and through this special TV offer, you can get the Bell & Howell Tack Light Lantern for just $19.99 plus free shipping.
Lugging your things up and down the stairs is a real hassle. Well, not anymore. Now there's Climb Cart, the new and innovative folding cart that climbs stairs with you. So instead of lifting, you simply roll the Climb Cart upstairs with little effort. So now you'll finally get a break hauling that laundry upstairs. Or add our jumbo-sized carry bag. Now bringing multiple heavy bags of groceries into the house is simple. Whether you're going upstairs or down, the Climb Cart gets you around town. Then the lightweight, sturdy frame folds flat and stores anywhere. As part of this special TV offer, you'll get the Climb Cart and free carry bag for the low price of only $39.99. But hold everything. If you order right now, we'll ship it to you free. Plus, all of today's orders come with our 10-year guarantee, but you must call or log on now.
Call 1-800-499-6188 to get your Climb Cart. Call now or go to getclimbcart.com. So call 1-800-499-6188. That's 1-800-499-6188. Call now.
In the Country, brought to you by Kubota's M5 series, bringing new levels of comfort to hard work. Learn more at Kubota.com or visit your local Kubota dealer today.
The old farmer idiom, make hay when the sun shines, seems to shine light on an industrial bakery in Australia. The baking company uses nothing but solar power to run its massive ovens. The cost of all the power needed for this massive bakery in Sydney runs into the hundreds of thousands of dollars annually, so the company turned to the community for help. Local townsfolk and not just big money investors raised $400,000. Now that money pays for the purchase and installation of a 230 kilowatt solar panel system on the bakery's roof.
That they put their money in, and then for a set number of years they get paid every quarter for whatever generation is produced by the panels. And over the total time they get basically all of their capital back plus half as much again. And that's equivalent to about a 7% return on their investment.
The company says much of the energy used is not in the ovens, which bakes bread at 400 degrees, but rather it's the blast coolers and chill rooms, which are kept at 30 degrees below zero. Now that's cold. And that's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in. For Mike Hoffman and all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day.
AgDay is powered by Ram Trucks, America's longest lasting pickups.